Audrey serves as the social media manager for Think Creative. They're an Orlando advertising agency, but not just an advertising agency. She does many more services for her clients, and we're going to ask her to explain a little bit about increasing the reach of your organization through social media.
Let me give you a little bit background. So my name's Audrey, and I am the social media manager at Think Creative, which is a branding creative agency in Orlando. We have clients that are corporations, nonprofits, retail, other not-for-profit organizations, some government, higher education. It really runs the gamut. But my background is actually in nonprofit sector. I was a director of communications at A Gift for Teaching for 7 years. That's a Orlando-based nonprofit. I dabbled in the corporate world for a little bit, and now I'm in agency. I also have my own business where I did public relations and communications and social media consulting for a number of nonprofits and businesses. But this is a social media seminar, so let's get social, right? So this is my Twitter feed. This is my personal Twitter feed. But since this is about social media, I thought I would give you guys a quick overview. Like you guys don't know what these are, right? So obviously these are some of the top social media platforms. Anybody not know these platforms? The only one I don't have up here is Snapchat. Snapchat's really fun with kids, but I still haven't figured out how to crack the code for like using it for corporations and businesses. But different platforms appeal to different audiences. So as an organization or a business, you need to do your research to determine which platform is best for which audiences you're trying to reach. Because you don't have to be on all of them, and actually in some ways you shouldn't be if you don't have the capacity to be on all of them. We recommend to do 2 of them. Pick 2 and do those 2 really well. So for example, everybody also tends to have a favorite platform that they use. Mine is Instagram. I love Instagram. This is my personal Instagram feed. You're going to see a lot of cats and a lot of kids. I like Instagram because it has the capacity for a photo and then a well-written caption. You're telling a story through the photo and the caption. Twitter, I use because my side hustle is as a children's book writer, and that's where all the agents and editors and authors live. So I use Twitter for query tips and new book releases and writer support. There's even this thing called Twitter pitch parties that can help you connect with agents and editors. So I use Twitter for those audiences. Facebook is so I can keep in touch with my grandma. LinkedIn, well, this means that everybody's on Facebook, even my 90-year-old grandma. LinkedIn is great professionally. I've actually connected a few employers with friends who freelance who ended up getting jobs, so that was pretty cool. And then Pinterest. I'm a food allergy family, so I'm always searching for food allergy friendly recipes and craft projects that I will never try. And then YouTube, I've actually reupholstered an entire couch just by watching videos on YouTube. So like all of those different platforms help me personally and professionally in multiple different ways. I use them all differently. This next slide connects to a really cool link that we couldn't get to work because of the firewall. But when you guys get the presentation afterwards, it will hyperlink to this. So the top social network demographics of 2018 show that Instagram is the highest moving, fastest performing, top growing social media platform out of all of them. Yes, Facebook has the most amount of users, but Instagram is growing the fastest. So I'm sorry, I'm breathing into the mic. So like it's hard or something? Like I said, my 90-year-old grandmother is on Facebook constantly. She's quite a fanatic. But when it comes to your business or organization, it goes far beyond just posting about your kids or your cat. Hold on. So social media is constantly changing. Anybody that says they're a social media expert, I always kind of question that a little bit because it is always changing. So to be in social media, you have to be an expert at learning because it's changing every single day. I subscribe to numerous Google alerts and Social Media Today and Mashable and many other blogs and to get the latest updates because it is always changing. We call him Zuckerberg in our office, but he recently spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. In some congressional hearings, and that was a big part of some major changes that came through with their algorithms. And does anybody have any questions about what an algorithm is when it comes to Facebook? So I'm going to give you guys a definition because it's like the buzzword. An algorithm is a process or set of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations, especially by a computer. So Facebook, which also owns Instagram, by the way, has these algorithms in place, and they're always updating them and changing them. And these algorithms affect the way your audience sees your content. Accusations of election interference by foreign countries affects the way people see your content. Use of bots and fake accounts affect the way people see your content. Ad targeting that is now deemed discriminatory affects the way people see your content. And then just overall privacy concerns, the way somebody might have their privacy settings set on Facebook will affect how they see your, or don't see your content. So when Facebook rolled out these changes in their algorithms, they said it was to encourage meaningful interactions between people. They wanted to make it more social. They wanted to get back to less selling, more talking, more relationship building. But the business side of me says they also lost a lot of money in 2018. Their shares were down quite a bit. And by changing the algorithms to be where engaging content gets more notice, it requires businesses and organizations to pay for advertising to get their audience to see content that they were otherwise going to see. So you have to pay to play on social media, which when it first came out wasn't as much the case. Next one. So there has to be a strategy. You can't just post, well, I guess you can just post willy-nilly to your Facebook accounts for your organization or your Instagram stories. But if you truly want to reach different audiences, it comes down to knowing who you are as an organization and what type of brand you're going to put out there. So you need to know who you are first. It boils down to creating authentic, original, and consistent content that tells the story, right? You want to tell the story of who you are so that it's engaging, because the more engaging your content is, the more Facebook will let other people see it. They actually place values behind a like versus a love versus a ha-ha versus a wow. So if somebody just likes your post, that's like a 1. But a love plus a comment, that gives you that much more value to that piece. And Facebook's algorithm will open the door to let more people see it. So knowing yourself and the message you want to put out on social is key to creating content that will engage your audience. Ultimately, getting around those algorithms. Am I going too fast? I know I talk fast. So brand is built on purpose, your personality, your values, your promises. Kim Kardashian has quite the brand on social media. And your brand is sustained by your products, your behaviors, your communications, and your commitment. You can have a great brand online and get people in the store. But if they get to the store and they're treated rudely by the store manager, or the shelves are empty, that's not sustainable. So you have to live the brand every day. So I'm going to have you guys do an exercise. This is probably the only conference seminar where I'm going to ask you to get out your phones and look at them while I'm talking. Someone already has his out. So a good way to determine what you want your social media presence to look like as an organization is to look at the social media feeds that you admire. So which ones do you follow? Which ones do you like to look at? Which ones do you personally or professionally find the most appealing? Do you resonate with their message? So look through your feed. Feel free. I won't take any offense. I want to know, what makes you engage with those? Think about, why did you comment on that post versus this other one? What made you click through that Instagram ad to buy the really cute t-shirt? Was it the fact that it was a really cute t-shirt? Or was it the fact that someone pissed you off that day and the shirt said, "Be a nice human," and you bought it? True story. So think about that when you're looking through them. I have a few examples. So again, as I said, Instagram is my favorite platform, my preferred platform. So is there a laser? Nope. Is the middle button? Okay. So this is an artist and designer and maker that I love to follow. She's local. Her name's Jessa Bray. And if you kind of look at her feed, you notice that they all have very similar colors, similar look. She definitely puts a lot of thought into the types of photos she posts and curates. This is Progressive Insurance. One of the things I love about their feed is that they tell the stories of their employees on their social media. It's not just about the company and that they're one of the top places to work in 2018. It tells a story behind why. And sorry, I know this is insurance and I just plug someone else. This is Reynolds Wrap. One of the cool things I love about their social media feed is that these are all individual pictures, but if you look at them, they could all be one picture together. And then this is Letter Folks. So these letter boards are very popular right now. Their feed is really funny. They really focus a lot on their copy that they use in their captions and in their photos. But the other cool thing about theirs is their content is mostly user generated. So all of their customers who have bought these are posting them on their personal feeds and then tagging Letterfolk, and then Letterfolk is using them on their own feeds. So Letterfolk isn't even having to create their own content. They're just pulling content that everybody else is creating for them, which is pretty awesome. So first, let's take a selfie, right? So we've looked at our favorites, and hopefully gathered some ideas on what you would like your organization to look like on social media. And again, this isn't a mission statement. This is your story. You want to tell a story. So what are your values? What are your core values as an organization, as a workplace, as a team? Visually, what do you want your feed to look like? Do you want it to all look very similar with the same kind of color palette, same kind of perspective on each photos? Do you want it to be happy, smiling children drinking clean water? Do you want it to be stories of your employees or the people who receive your services? Should there be video that uses some simple animation? Your voice. What's the voice that you're putting out across social media? What's the writing style? Are you clever and quirky? Or are you a little bit more restrained, refined, graceful? And then what's your overall vibe? What do you want someone to feel when they are looking at your social media feed? So related to that, content is king. The key to great content, great copy, eye-catching visuals, and then a great vibe. That's key. That will help develop a brand loyalty among pretty much any audience. And it increases the opportunity for engagement, which again, going back to that word algorithms, helps you get around those algorithms the more engaging your content is. And also, the American Marketing Association said that by 2019, video content will be the driving factor behind 85% of search traffic in the US on the internet. So now we're almost being forced to everything has to be video. So the next key in defining your strategy is defining your audience, right? Who are you talking to? Staff, customers, clients, vendors, community, volunteers, board, donors, anybody and everybody, the general public. You're going to have different messages that go toward each of those different audiences. Your content is going to be crafted toward those audiences to really resonate with them, or should. So you know who you are, who you're trying to reach. So now let's figure out how to try to reach them. So organic reach has been declining even before the new Facebook algorithm changes. But those changes affected it drastically. For many businesses and organizations, they've seen their organic reach drop to less than 10% of their audience. So people that like your page aren't even seeing the content that you're putting out there if the content isn't getting engagement, enough engagement for Facebook to deem it worthy to be shown to them. So again, it's not eliminating organic content. It will still live on your feed. It will still live on your Facebook page. It will still live on your Instagram feed. But it's not going to show up in the people who follow its personal feed unless it gets enough engagement, or if you pay to turn it into a Facebook ad. So again, I won't say it much more, but great content is key. So one thing that you can do as organizations is defining your strategy around existing campaigns and events, setting aside a budget for paid advertising. It doesn't take a lot. That is one of the good things. You're not, pulling out a full page ad in the New York Times where it's thousands upon thousands of dollars. You can do $20 a day on Facebook and reach an exponential number of new people. And then what's your call to action? Are you trying to get people to buy tickets to an event? Are you trying to get them to sign up to volunteer? Are you trying to get them to donate to a capital campaign? Give them something to do, and then you can also measure those analytics. And at the same time, and asking them to do those things, make sure that you're following the 80-20 rule. So the general rule of thumb in marketing is tell or share stories 80% of the time, ask them 20%, because it's about building relationships, right? You want your audience to engage with your content. If you're spending 80% of the time asking people to donate money or come to an event or buy tickets or volunteer, we need volunteers, we need more volunteers tomorrow, they're going to start to kind of tune out a little bit. So it's a slow build. It's not an overnight success. It's building those relationships, turning them into visitors, and then turning them into hopefully donors, and then hopefully loyal brand advocates, where they're sharing your information. You're not even having to ask them to do it. It takes time. And anybody that says it doesn't They're just trying to get you to buy followers, and don't, because it'll really mess up your accounts, and it's really, really frowned upon. So again, back to content. If you don't have a designated social media person in-house, that's okay. There are so many amazing tools out there that you don't have to know Photoshop, you don't have to know Adobe Illustrator to be able to create visually interesting content. Canva.com is an amazing resource, and I have a stock photo account. Again, video is king, but you can use Animoto or WeVideo. You don't need a full video production team to create a video that will create engaging content. In fact, some audiences might see it as insincere if it's not. They have gotten so used to seeing Facebook Live videos and Instagram stories where it's, me holding my cell phone out here and taking a video and just giving a little recap about what I ate for dinner. People will watch it. The use of hashtags depends on the platform. Generally speaking, hashtags are great on Instagram and Twitter. It will get new people to find your content by searching those hashtags. LinkedIn and Facebook, that you can search via hashtag, but it's kind of like frowned upon, like via protocol. There are some, especially if you're writing about a trending topic, like National Ice Cream Day, or, so I'm going to show you a few examples of different content. I'm going to rearrange my place here a little bit. So I'm going to show you some examples of different content that we've created for clients and kind of the different degrees of content that we've created. So we have, as a client, a local health food chain store and its sister stores throughout the U.S. This piece of content, this first one, this was just a stock photo and a caption that we wrote. This piece was a photo that we took in store. We pulled it into Canva, put a little logo on it, and using their brand guidelines, so we were using their fonts and everything, and did the hashtag Thirsty Thursdays as a quick little caption. This piece of content was a shared article. So most shared articles have a photo or graphic attached to them already. If it fits with it, use it. That's one less piece of content that you have to create or your social media person has to create. Here, this one doesn't even have a caption because we wanted people to see it and know right away without having to read anything further. Sadly, as a writer, I hate to say this, but people don't read as much as they used to, especially when it comes to social media. This piece of content is where a vendor actually pays our clients to pay us to promote their products. So they send us a product photo. We write an original headline. We write an original caption. We get it all posted on social media, and then we tag the vendor and the product across all the different platforms so that they're seeing it, so that their customers are seeing it, and then they're sharing it. And then another really great piece of content is, again, showing that behind the scenes of your organization or business. The team went out for dinner, and this was a really great picture of them, showing them that there are people behind the products. These are videos, which again we couldn't get to work because they're hyperlinked. But these first two are very quick 10-second videos where we pulled them together in a GIF file, a GIF file. And this one we produced in-house. It's about how to make 4 different types of bento box meals. It's less than 30 seconds. There's no music to it. There's just a few sound effects. And I would do the sound effects for you, but I'll spare you. But they're cute. So I'm just going to keep going. So the nuts and bolts of posting to social media. We use a social media management software called Sprout. There's other ones out there. Hootsuite is another really popular one. They do cost money, but I will say, because we manage multiple social media profiles, we'd have to do it that way. But if you're just working in-house with a social media person and you are on Facebook and Instagram, I would say you don't need to have a social media management tool. You can just log in and use Facebook Manager. The nice thing about the social media management tools is that it can help you schedule out content. So you can kind of like build up a bunch of content based around your organizational calendar. So if you know you have events or a campaign that's going to be running, and then you can plan out each day or week or month and have that content already created, have a day or two where you're just creating all of this content, and then you store it and schedule it ahead of time so that it's running behind the scenes, and then all you have to do is respond to people that are engaging with your content. I kind of talked about that. When you are doing this, make sure that if you are highlighting a donor or a volunteer or a vendor, make sure that you tag them, because what that does is that it shows up on their feed and then their people will share it on top of that. Again, increasing that engagement so that more people outside of your page will see it. The other really important thing about social media is the reporting and the analysis. So we pull monthly reports for all of our clients to be able to see what worked, what didn't, and then how do we need to fix our strategy so that we can play to what people are engaging with the most. You know, in some ways you can just kind of like throw it up on the wall and see what sticks. And the beautiful thing about social media is that for the most part, unless it's like a major faux pas, people will forget about it. For the most part, people will forget about it. And so, you know, I would recommend trying new things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. And the reports and the data help you see numerically what does work. Organic versus paid, set aside a little bit of money each month for a Facebook ad. It will also show on Instagram if you have an Instagram account, again, because Facebook owns Instagram. It's a great way to spend a little bit of money and increase your reach to multiple people who probably wouldn't see it otherwise. And then again, algorithms. They make organic reach harder. So this is an example of a graph from Sprout, which is the social media management tool that we use at Think for one of our clients. So you can see that across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the engagement that we got for these. So just within the month of December, we had 28,500 plus impressions, and then 913 engagements. Engagements being a like, a share, a comment, a love. And that skip? Yeah, and another one. And then, I mean, as an agency, we're going back to our clients to show that like what we're doing is working or not working. Hopefully always it's working. So this is where the data really helps us. We can see like, whoa, on December 11th, like what did we post on that day? Everybody seemed to really like it. So we'll go back and we'll check it out and we'll go like, okay, so people really resonated with this type of content. Let's post more of that, and then we'll adjust our strategy. Again, paid advertising. So kind of a little, I don't want to get too detailed, but when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling through your feed, Facebook will recommend boosted posts for you. Of course they will. They're trying to get you to spend some more money, right? There is another platform that is also owned by Facebook, but it's Facebook Ads Manager. And what it does is it helps you target your ad more clearly. You can define your audiences a lot better. You can split tests. So, for example, we have a client where we had the same message, but we used 2 different pieces of art. We wanted to see what piece of art resonated more with the same audience. And then once we got that data, we readjusted and we ran the ad the second go round that resonated the most the first time around. And again, a little goes a long way. So you'll see here's the organic likes. So again, organic is when you're posting directly to your Facebook page and feed and you're not putting any money behind it. Paid is, of course, when you're using Facebook Ads Manager. And this is what it looks like. I'm sure you've all seen these because there's so much more paid advertising on social. It says sponsored. That's the key right there. That means they put money behind it. So, I know that was like a lot of information. I believe you guys will be getting the presentation, so all of those links and videos you'll be able to actually see in person. You're welcome to connect with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Twitter, you're going to mostly hear me talk about writing children's books, though, and maybe an occasional cat picture. But you can also follow Think Creative on our Facebook page. As I said, we will literally be up all night tonight doing our pro bono work for our nonprofit pick this year. Did anybody have any questions? I don't know. Okay. You're welcome.